Citing your sources. So what is a citation? You're talking about citing your sources, and it's important to cite your sources, but what is a citation? It is a note of reference to a work from which a passage is quoted or to some source authority for a statement or proposition. So, telling people where you got information. What was the source for some statement or something that you're saying? A citation is going to include the title of the work, the author's name, the name of the journal or magazine if it came out of a journal or magazine, the year of the publication, or other publication information which allows the researcher to locate the item. So the year of the publication, a specific date if it's a magazine article that came out on a specific date, what volume was it in, what issue was it in, what page was it on, if it's a book, who published it, where they're located, anything like that. So a citation is going to include enough information to allow someone else or yourself, if you need to go back to it, to find the information, to locate the item. Why should you cite your sources? I mean, who cares? If you write a paper and you used a bunch of books or articles, why should you cite them? Well, it gives credit to materials and authors you used in your research. Give credit where credit is due. You know, if somebody took your stuff and didn't say, hey, I got this from this person, you'd be unhappy about that. Yeah, so you want to give credit to things that you used in your research to build upon. Help others see the pattern of research involved. We've talked earlier in the quarter about looking at someone's citations and going back to that information. It helps you track. I mean, if someone wanted to go back and track, hey, this information, how has it been used? Who's cited it? What have they used it for? How have they built upon this? It's going to help you see that when you can track back those citations. And you can avoid plagiarism. Citing your sources will help you avoid plagiarism. We're going to avoid it, but what is it that we're going to avoid? Do we even know what plagiarism is? To plagiarize is to steal and use the ideas or writings of another as one's own, to appropriate passages or ideas from and use them as one's own, to take and use as one's own the writings or ideas of another. It's from the American Heritage Dictionary. The important thing here, to take someone else's stuff and say it's yours. That's what you're doing if you use an idea from a book or a magazine and you don't say, hey, I got this idea from over here. That's what you're doing, is you're stealing someone's idea. And it's important, ideas or writings. So it's not just the written word. It's music, it's art, it's anyone's idea, whatever it may be. And passages or ideas, not just if you quote something word for word and you don't cite it, yes, that's plagiarizing, but also even if you use their idea and don't cite it, that's also plagiarizing. It's not just if you take exact words. So that's important. It can happen, like I said, music, if you steal someone's musical melody or whatever and put it in your music, that's plagiarizing, that's stealing. Plagiarism is intellectual theft. Stealing the idea of someone's ideas, that's intellectually stealing their stuff, it's not appropriate. That's unethical. Plagiarism is unethical. If you take somebody's work and you plagiarize, there are penalties for that. Campus-wide, you can fail your class, you can get kicked out of school. I mean, it's an unethical thing to do. There's a legal side to it, though, and that would be copyright. So if you steal somebody's idea, they can sue you. That's kind of the bigger picture. We mostly here on our campus, at campus level, we deal with the ethical side of it, the plagiarism side. But there is the possibility, if someone publishes a journal article and they find out that you've quoted it and didn't cite it, they could sue you for copyright. The person who created that owns the rights to how it is distributed and how it is used. So that's their right. Ethical is plagiarism, legal is copyright. And like I said, we primarily deal with the ethical side of it. You use someone's ideas and you don't cite your sources, that's unethical, and that's what we're dealing with. Citations. You need to cite your sources. How are you going to do that? You're going to need some style. There are lots of different styles out there, but the big ones on our campus, MLA, APA, and Chicago. Those are the ones that we are primarily using here on our campus. Those are the three biggies. What do they stand for? Modern Languages Association, MLA. Typically our English classes are using that. Some other humanities courses are using that. I think art, maybe speech. I don't know if they're requiring it or they're giving it as an option, that kind of thing. But that's a lot of the humanities stuff. Modern Language Association, citation style, writing style. American Psychological Association, APA. Generally used. Psychology, sociology, related sciences to that. Human Services is using APA. Nursing is using APA. So a lot of those people using the APA style. That's a big one. And Chicago. That's the University of Chicago style. University of Chicago. Typically history uses Chicago style. Someone told me that maybe philosophy was using it, although I haven't checked that. But you may hear Chicago style. These are the three big styles that we're using on this campus. As first and second year students, these are the ones you're going to run into. But wait, there's more. Those are just the big ones. Those aren't the only ones that exist. So as you continue, if you potentially continue your academic career, you're probably going to run into some other ones. ACS, American Chemical Society. So if you're going to go into chemistry related fields, CBE, Council of Biological Editors, biology, life sciences, that kind of thing. There's more of them out there, but that kind of gives you some examples. MLA, APA are the big ones on our campus, and then Chicago as well. But there are other ones out there. So when you get up into a major, if you're going to be a math major, a science major, if you're going to be an English major, you'll keep using MLA. but as you get up into like junior and senior level, etc., you'll probably run into some different styles. So what are these all about? The formats are going to vary a little bit depending on which style that you are using. They're all going to include the same information, though. Your citations are going to include what I mentioned: author or authors, plural, title, publication information. All of that's going to be in there, but how you present that information is what is going to constitute the style. The elements should be basically the same, but how you arrange them and how you present them are going to constitute what style you're going to be using. You'll need to refer to the style manual for the exact order and punctuation. We have, on this campus, we have the MLA handbook, we have the APA handbook, we have the Chicago book. All of those are available in the library. We also have help on our website, Citing Sources, links to different websites that you can go and look up how to cite your sources in different styles. So let's look at some examples. We're going to look at APA and MLA examples, and just a couple of them. So, a book. Just straightforward, I found a book on the shelf. What's it look like? In APA, you've got your author, last name, comma, first initial, period, in parentheses, the year that it was published, period, the title of the book, in italics, and a period after that, where was it published, the city, New York, colon, and then who published it, Oxford University Press, period. So that's your APA book citation. And then the same book cited in MLA style, last name, comma, first name, the entire first name, not just the first initial, period, title of the book in italics, period, where was it published, New York, colon, who published it, Oxford University Press, then comma, and then the year, period, and then print, because you saw this book in print. MLA, this is a new thing in their newest edition. If something was in print, you put print. If it was electronic, like an ebook, you put web. So that's a new thing with them. They're acknowledging that there are basically two formats or two ways people are viewing things, whether it be books, whether it be periodicals. They want you to identify print or web. So that's a basic book citation. Now, that doesn't cover all the possibilities of a book. Maybe the book had more than one author. So you're going to have to look at, how do I cite more than one author? Maybe the book was edited by somebody. It doesn't have one author, it had an editor. How do you cite that? That's going to be a little bit different. Maybe you're just using one chapter out of a book. The chapter was written by someone, but the whole book was edited by someone else. The chapter has a title, the book has a title. How are you going to cite that? That's all in the handbook. There's all these little nuances. This is the basic format, but then there's little tiny additions. Maybe it's the addition. Yeah, maybe it's an addition. Maybe it's the third edition of a book. You need to note that too. So there's all these little extra factors that are going to come into play when you actually get down to citing what source you're using. But this is the basic book style citation. Let's look at journal. We're looking at journal articles now. MLA, I guess I switched to MLA's on top now. MLA journal, last name, comma, first name, period. Title of the article in quotes. Title of the journal in italics. Volume, period, issue. Volume 32, issue 4, 32.4. And then the year in parentheses, colon, the page numbers of the article, period, and then print. I saw this in print. Same journal in APA, last name, comma, first initial. APA, you never put the first name. Never. It's always first initial. I mean, it's always just initial, not full name. That can be confusing, I have to say. In APA style, if you have 6 things by Smith, comma, J, they might be 6 different Smiths. 6 different J. Smiths, but that's it. So that can be confusing, I know. Last name, comma, first initial, and then the year in parentheses with a period, the title of the article, just in straight text, period, the title of the journal in italics, comma, volume. The volume number is still in italics. This is a really interesting quirk in APA. I don't know why, but the title of the journal is in italics, the comma, and the volume number. The issue number is in straight text. Issue 4 in parentheses, that's in straight text, but the 32 is in italics. I don't know. And then a comma, and then the page number, period. And that's what they're going to have you do. They're very similar. You've got the same information here, basically. It's just rearranged. Where's the period? Where's the colon? Put something in parentheses. Don't put it in parentheses. All of those things, those are the elements of the style. Those are the elements of the style. That's kind of the things that we're going to look for. How picky is your teacher going to be? That's a good question. You kind of have to get a feel for your instructor of how picky they're going to be on all of this. If you put a comma instead of a period, are they going to dock you points? I can tell you for our final project, for Library 101, you're not going to be severely docked for putting a comma instead of a period. But I want to know, I want to see that you've made the effort to try and put it into a certain style. But if you didn't put that 32 in italics on that APA journal, you're not going to lose points. If everything else is fine, you're not going to lose points just for that. But you have to get a feel for your instructor and how picky are they going to be. So this is citing a journal. Now, what if you found that journal in one of our databases? That's going to be a different thing. The first part is all the same. Author's last name, comma, first name or first initial. That first part is all the same. But after that, you need to add something indicating that it was electronic. So with MLA, after the page numbers, you put what database did you get it out of? Academic Search Premier, ProQuest Research Library, whatever. And then you put web, title of the database, period, web, period, and then the date that you viewed the article. We know the date of the article because we have the volume and issue and all of that up there. But then, what day did you retrieve this article? Date, month, year. That's in MLA. In APA, the first part's the same as a regular print journal. Last name, comma, first initial, all of that. Art history, comma, 32, all that's the same. After the page number, though, you're going to put the electronic information. And in this case, DOI, colon, and then a really long numbers and letters. And that's going to be your identifier. Okay, let's talk about that for a minute. What's that DOI? DOI, what are we talking about now? It's not a page number, it's not a volume, it's not an issue. DOI, Digital Object Identifier. It is a unique number, which you saw was extremely long, to a specific article. It is not like the volume and issue. That tells you, that references an entire issue of a journal. I mean, it could be, it's multiple pages, lots of articles. A DOI is a unique number to one article. So an article is assigned an individual unique DOI, and that is what that number is. And you will see it in your journal citation when you're online. If you're looking at a journal article online, there should be a DOI on there. There should be a DOI assigned to that article, and it should show. And it'll say DOI, so you should be able to recognize it. The citations are the same for the journals in print and online, but with the electronic access information added. With the MLA, it was Academic Search Premier Web and the date. With APA, it was the DOI. Now, here's a note on the DOI again. Not every article has a DOI. It's a fairly new system. Not everything has a DOI assigned. If there is no DOI in APA style, then you need to give the URL of the journal homepage. So we were looking at Art History was the name of the journal. We would need to find the URL of the Art History Journal webpage and use that, and then you would say retrieved from, and you would give the URL of that journal website. That's a little bit tricky in APA. They've kind of gone a little crazy there, but they want you to try and use that DOI whenever you can find it. And it's more and more common that things have a DOI, but if you don't see a DOI, then you don't just put, like MLA, you don't just put, I got it from Academic Search Premier. You need to go and find the website for the journal. It's getting a little complicated in this electronic world that we have going on, but we can always help you with that. The most important thing is that someone can find your source, whether that someone is your instructor, another person doing research in the same field, you finding it again when you have to go back and look for it. That is the most important thing for citations, is that your sources can be located. There's some additional help, the weekly folder on citing your sources. Again, the most important thing is that someone can find your sources.